Cancer, welcome to your Celtic cross reading. Like always, we're going to start by building that baseline and then we will clarify it. And as always, take what resonates, leave it does not. These are general collective readings, not one-to-one private, which is to say they may or may not resonate. And if they don't resonate at all, perfectly normal. Check your other placements, yeah? What's going on, please, for the Cancerian collective? Oh, I better change out your card. I looked over like, I better think Cancer's card, and there it is. Good job. Sometimes it's the little things, honey. I'm all about the little things. The big things have a tendency to take care of themselves. It's the little things, okay? I'm all about the little things. In love and in life, those little things add up, you know? So I never neglect the little things. What's going on, please, for that Cancerian collective? Show me that Cancerian collective. What's going on for Cancer? What's up? What's going on? Show me Cancer, please. Seven of Cups. Oh, yeah. Crossing you, the Emperor. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Nope. You're showing me a bunch of... I could, but no. Okay. All right. That's cool. Relevant past. Queen of Swords. What's exiting from you is the exit itself. That's funny. Scorpio had the same card in that same position, and Pisces was in between yours too. So I promise you there's been many, many shuffles. That's interesting. The need to exit is exiting. There's an acceptance here then. Okay, there is some roughness, but we get through it. The immediate future, the Fool, whew, blast of energy. Okay. Your strengths, Knight of Wands. You got a little fire pony in you, as Ramblin' Mike would say, fire pony. Isn't that perfect? That's perfect. I love that. Your environment, the Tower. Things are shifting just a little bit for you. I can't tell if you're excited or scared or somewhere in between. Oh my. Hopes and fears that there will be a fight. Oh my. Outcome, Nine of Swords, stress. Honey, we got to calm this down. Look, there are times when we must fight. There are times when we must back off. And wisdom lies in knowing where between we're supposed to do what, if anything at all. It's almost like you're telling me you're having to fight for your freedom, to fight to open up. There's big parts of you that just want to take off and do something else, spend your energy elsewhere, to be light, to be happy. And then there's parts of reality that pull you back and said, no, you don't. And that's pretty much how you opened up to Seven of Cups. Like, oh, okay. Oh, the Emperor's crossing it. No. Permission denied. Okay. That is not self-empowerment. Opening yourself up to what? Seven of Cups, I don't know. Seven of Cups is kind of murky. It's a little in there. It's a little bit of this. It's a little bit of that. It's very your card, which is not an insult or a knock on Cancer. All signs have pros and cons. If you've been around the channel, you should know this. All signs have pros and cons. And Seven of Cups, the willingness to explore your feelings, that's very Cancerian. That's how you choose a dedicated effort, i.e. the Chariot. But your Emperor's like, no. Seven of Wands. A little bit defensive here, a little bit of blockage, a little bit of thou shall not pass. Queen of Swords, relevant past, determination about something that you concluded possibly not too long ago. Six of Swords, the need to exit is exiting. The Fool, wanting to open up. You have some lovely natural energy in you, but it's kind of like to open up would be to change my environment, and you're showing me resistance to change, even though you yourself are yearning for it. It doesn't have to be catastrophic, it doesn't have to be huge, but you're having a hard time acclimating to what you naturally feel. And what you naturally feel is the opposite of what you're doing, which is kind of clamped down, tight, no. Five of Wands are like, it's going to be a big pain in the... Christina, it's just going to cause an argument, it's going to cause a fight, I don't want to deal with it. And Nine of Swords, you're stressed out. I can't tell if anything's resolved yet. It's not looking too resolved. What's going on with you? Show me that Seven of Cups, please. Show me that Seven of Cups. 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 Okay, Ace of Swords, the Devil. Queen of Pentacles. Oh my. You're saying opening up to options in anything leads to bad things. You're saying it's a truth that you are becoming intimately acquainted with. You're telling me you're afraid to open up lest there be dire consequences. Whew! That's a bit much. What is in your Seven of Cups, honey? I can't tell if that's your fantasy, because Seven of Cups also has the implication of fantasy. Is this your fantasy running away with you? Your imagination, is it running away with you? Are you afraid to open up? Because you're showing me a lot of fear. You're saying, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can change. What's with the confrontation? And that it changes equal bad. Or I'm afraid. I'm afraid. You're showing me that. It's like if I do anything, despite what I feel, to open up, I'm going to get an argument. I'm going to get a fight. It's going to be bad. I know it. I know it. And you're so convinced. I just want to know what's in your Seven of Cups. And you're like, bad shit. That's what's in my Seven of Cups. So there's a lot of fear in here. And it's a truth that you really believe is your truth, as you best understand it. But it's attached to the devil. So I don't really believe that this is your truth. I believe this is the illusion of your truth. You're afraid of reprisal. You are afraid of argument. You are afraid of something. And it keeps you from looking at something that you really do want to look at. You seem to think it's chaos. If you look at this, if you express yourself towards it, that it equals chaos if you try. And you're like, that's a lot of fear, honey. I don't like that. I do not like that. And it's looking like an illusion. It's a fantasy. It feels like it's something that's been worked up in your mind. Not that it's necessarily true, but you really believe it is. So it might as well be true, right? If you believe something that intensely, then it will be. It will keep you from doing what you want. There it is, the anticipation of stress and fighting. Okay, let's see the Emperor, please. The Emperor's like, The Emperor's in your challenged position, being self-empowered, standing. Are you afraid to stand up for yourself about something? You got a bone to pick with somebody? What's going on? Show me that Emperor, please. Show me that Emperor, please. That's a lot of fear, honey, and it's looking fantasy-based. Thing is that you're comfortable with that particular fear, and as far as comfortable, Queen of Pentacles, you're comfortable with this fear. And it's fear of confrontation, despite the fact that you have a hard-bearing truth in you. That you're like, no, I don't. Because that truth, Christina, if I believed in that truth, it could get me into trouble if I tried to express it. You anticipate like a really worst-case scenario here. Let's see that Emperor, please. King of Wands, the Page of Wands, the Tower. You're saying, there it is again. I'll be ducked. Christina, if I confronted this with self-empowerment, I will get my ass handed to me. What the hell, Cancer? What? What is this confrontation? You are really afraid you will get your ass handed to you. And you're saying that's the thing that you're having a hard time opening up towards. It will require change in your environment. And yet you feel it. You feel it still. Still. Excuse me. What is that? Portugal the man? Feel it still, I think. I get my artists mixed up like a lot. The Tower, Page of Wands, King of Wands. And yet there's that energy, there's that ignition in you. I would love to do this. No, you wouldn't. The fear clamps down. And you got something on your mind. And you got something in your heart. You act like you don't, but you do. And they both kind of bear down on you and on your spirit. But you're like, if I open up towards this, that means being confrontational. And it could get me into trouble. It's your own particular demon. I know that. You're devil. You're going to have to push past that if you want to resolve it. Again, just to reflect upon Scorpios, they also had devil attached to an Ace of Cups. You're showing me a devil attached to an Ace of Swords. Their particular devil was to conquer the strength of their own heart because they understood whatever that they loved or attached themselves to was fundamentally wrong. So it was their obligation to break from it. You're showing me something in that respect of, I understand that this is a fear for me, but to confront it, it would take a lot of willpower on your part. And a willingness to open up to change or reprisal or critique. I don't know, but you associate it with a lot of stress. Let's see that 7 of Wands. That's a lot of blockage here. That ain't happening. That 7 of Wands is your influence. Nope. That's a big old no. 7 of Wands. Alright, what's influencing you here? Let me see this. You've taken a stance on this particular subject. Again, it's born out of fear, not truth. I have to insist on that point. And I can kind of see why you have equated this to very strong results, or the potential strong results. Okay. 7 of Wands, 4 of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. Holding back on an opportunity to balance. No, I'm not going to balance that shit. You could do. Ace of Wands, and you know it. Show it some hope, some inspiration. Part of you wants to. And then you turn around and say, no, I don't. But you hold on to it. What does that tell you? You're not doing anything with it other than pushing it away. I don't want it. 6 of Pentacles, you could hypothetically balance. Ace of Wands, and there's actually a part of you that would like to. Hope. Inspiration. But just in that respect of at least leveling a situation, making it equal, making it even. It's with you a lot. And you're saying it would require a huge shift in your energy to choose something different. And again, it's coming from fear. It's like, if I did this, there could be huge consequences to it. Dude, seriously. Let's see that Queen of Swords, please. Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords. Show me that Queen of Swords, please. Show me that Queen of Swords. Show me that Queen of Swords. Show me that Queen of Swords. I hate seeing this level of conflict in you, because you want to resolve it for yourself, if anything, for your own sense of sanity, you know? And then you're like, no, if I did that, I'll just make it worse, because then I'll make it even more insane. I'm not saying you are insane, but that's kind of the idea. If I approach this, because you have such a huge intensity surrounding it, you're afraid you'll make the situation worse. Ten of Wands, Queen of Cups, 4 of Swords. Yeah, at some point in your relevant past, you made a determination here to kind of rest on the heaviness of your heart, to just be silent about it. Not necessarily work through it, but to just be silent. It's kind of like, if I just rest on this, or if I leave it alone, or if I'm silent, I'll be okay. And maybe that's worked for you in the past. That's why they're showing relevant past. Just like sometimes there is that acceptance there, right? And I understand that. King and Queen of Swords are really good about accepting basic data that most people struggle with when it's difficult. And you're saying you've dealt with things before that suggested this is out of my pay grade. This is out of my bracket. I just got to leave it alone. I can't get myself emotionally connected to it. I can't have a dog in that fight. I know better. So you're telling me you have a process of picking and choosing your battles. And not too long ago, you decided to not engage in this. And at the time, it probably made sense to you. But you can't kind of quit it. You can't quit it. This is one of those situations where I think, even though you said you are pretty good about picking and choosing your battles, and sometimes you have to go like this, you tried to apply that to this and it's not working. But the idea of you approaching it and trying to give it some resolve freaks you out. Dude, what is it? 6 of Swords is on the exit. Let's see that 6 of Swords, please. There's something that somebody said to you that weighs on you heavily. It weighs on you heavily. It weighs on you so heavily. And I know you thought it was best to not address it, just to let it go, come to terms with it. And it does not suit. That approach, that plan to this does not suit. And that's because it's a contradiction of your own energy. I see you wanting to open up towards this, but you're saying the energy to do so would be phenomenal on your part. Why? Other than you're afraid, quote unquote, of something happening. Or making things worse. Let's see that 6 of Swords, please. Now, you got me on the edge of my seat here. Typically, I see that kind of thing for you, and that's fine. That's all right. But this is really different. Like, super duper different. I don't know who the heck I tuned it to. Let's see that 6 of Swords, the 10 of Cups, 9 of Swords, the 9 of Wands. Man. When things get hard, you have a tendency to emotionally cut off. I know that's you and your process. This is not worth it. I can't. You're telling me the process that you would typically do. and you tried to apply it to this, it's not working. You're saying you know when to give up. You're saying you know when to walk away. You're saying you're used to knowing when something can balance or can't be balanced, and you said you try to deploy that same methodology here, and you're saying the more you try to apply it, the more it stresses you out. No. There's the Nine of Swords twice. The Nine of Wands, you repeating this process. You're exiting this. In other words, you're realizing this formula is not working for this. You don't seem to understand why, but you keep coming back to it. That's because it's splintered. You can see that for yourself, right? The reason you keep coming back to it is because the methodology you chose to deal with this, or rather not deal with this, usually works like, say, 90% of the time. But in this situation, it's not working. That's why your energy doesn't feel consolidated, is because it's not. This is one of the situations it's looking like you needed to stay in there and fight, speak your piece, say something. I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm saying it's just that what you have been doing isn't working. 90% of the time, you know. This ain't one of those times. This is one of those 10% times. And the more you try to distance yourself from it and force yourself to accept something, the more resistance you get from yourself on the inside. It's that fear, baby. It's that fear talking to you. Don't do it. You know the truth. The truth is, if you address this, you'll make things so much worse. You know it. You've seen the worst case scenario 1,000 times, Cancer. All you'll do is make it worse. Don't say anything. And this is how you know it's different from the other, say, 90% of the cases. When you like, you know what, I refuse to participate in this. It's not something I need to stay in. You didn't have any conflict, did you? Because you knew it was correct. I see you forcing yourself to remain distant from a particular subject that you are terrified to approach, even with a 10-foot pole. Not because you conclude it's the right thing to do, because you're afraid. Let's see that bridge for you in the immediate future, the Fool. So this is different. This is you showing me your pattern of how, if it causes you stress and it's unresolvable stress, you typically don't emotionally invest in it. I was like, it can't be harmonized. What are you going to do? Like I said, you're really good about that. Really good, but it's not working for this. What is this Fool? What is this Fool trying to get up to in your immediate future? Your bridge point. What is this Fool, please? It's the Ace of Wands or the Six of Pentacles, honey. Trying to level, just the idea that gives you a little bit of feeling better. And you clamp down. Seven of Wands, you're still blocking. Death. Death to the blockage. Three of Cups. You want to connect with something so bad. To kind of, even if anything else, just to give it a piece of your mind. And then you're like, no. You are so divided on this subject. Otherwise, I think you're a Cancer that normally has it in line, right? I'm choosing not to participate in that for XYZ reason. I will not emotionally invest. It can't be harmonized. That's for somebody else to participate in, but not me, right? Cool. It's not applying to this. There's a big part of you that wants to do a 180 turn around and say something to this, confront it, speak your piece, speak your mind. I don't know. But you're saying to do that could potentially blow it up, make it worse. I don't know. Your fear surrounding it is hypothetical. A lot of it's fantasy-based. The devil's not helping you reinforce that fear of the worst-case scenario. I mean, you're talking you fly to the worst-case scenario 100% of the time. You want to do an about-face, and you're like, you know what? Da-da-da-da-da, whatever that is to you. Like, I will not participate in this. And it's coming up soon, again, for some reason for you, the Fool. You're going to feel that urge to do something, to open up, to almost dare yourself to open up and say something. And then you're going to be like, no! You smack it down again. And I mean soon. I'm talking Scorpio season. It's otherwise the opportunity once more to connect with something and maybe balance it. Part of you feels really good. That's the conflict. The thing that you typically apply 90% of the time is not working in this. It wasn't the correct pick. The correct pick is for you to turn around and address it, but it's taking empowerment with the Emperor, and the Emperor's knocked sideways. It's saying it would take a phenomenal amount of energy, Christina, and I what if, and then that Tower kicks in. Even just a little bit of it, just a little bit. Dang, dude. I would like to see the end of that Seven of Wands here twice. And maybe it will be in time. Maybe it will be in time. Death to the restrictions, death to the blockage, death. Because the part of you would love to even if it's just a little bit. If it's just a little bit. To speak your piece. Something. I don't know if it's a pride thing, honey. I don't know if it's fear of reprimand. I don't know. But you have a point in you. You do have a point in you. I've yet to see what that point is. But you have a point in you. Other than balance. Other than the fact that it would feel, a part of you feels like it would be safe. And even maybe a good thing to connect with this. But you have a point in you. So is this really about them? Or whatever that situation is? That would ask you for some sort of shocking change? Or is it you accepting that you want to? Perhaps that's the most shocking thing for you by far, is that you kind of want to. Even though you feel like you're not supposed to, or that you already had a little talk with yourself. Cancer, we're not going to engage with this. It's nonsensical. Like, I refuse to engage in that. I already made up my mind, therefore it's done. Well, not so much, as you see. I want your energy to get on board with itself. That means coming to peace with a particular term. And I think what you struggle with is not this situation, but how much you actually want to address it. And I think that's what pisses you off. I said I wouldn't get involved, therefore it should be done. Well, bigger parts of you disagree. They're not falling in line with the plan. Okay. And there's a reason why. I know you think it's about, oh, what if, and oh no, I can't. I said I wouldn't. It's the weirdest sort of dare I've ever seen in my life, but it comes from a very deep place within you. And let me make that clear, parts of you are daring. Parts of you are absolutely daring. I think imagining the worst case scenario and things blowing up in your face is what keeps you in check. I do. But you got a point in you. You do. Is your point worth expressing? You got to figure that out for yourself. Is my point worth expressing? Am I worth it? Consequences be damned. And that should answer some of your questions. Let's see that Knight of Wands, please. Let's see that Knight of Wands. Your strength, yeah, the energy, the vitality, the dare. Like I said, it's kind of like a dare in there. It's almost like a dare, I swear to God. Knight of Wands. Like a dare in yourself, honey. King of Cups. The Seven of Swords. Jeez. Avoidance. So avoidance. Part of you is getting bigger. I'm not challenging you. I'm not daring you. I'm reading the cards today. I have not seen you this fragmented in a long time. It makes me strongly suspect you are not Cancer Sun. I have not seen you this fragmented in a long time, man. You have, around this issue, you have a particular lightness, carefree, frivolity, but a simple sort of energy and somewhere in here, love, it's a little all over the place. Like I said, you're not consolidated, so I'm having a hard time understanding your motivation. The only time you were really clear to me is when you made up your mind not too long in the past saying, I'm just not gonna. But it hasn't been sitting with you. This is one of those situations where it's just not working, and I'm telling you, there's something in you that wants to burst forth. Not to maybe fix it or even balance it, but for you. You know, sometimes a Cancer's got to do what a Cancer's got to do. So what are you going to do? You have more energy for this than you're giving yourself credit for. It's fear of doing it, generating the actual activity that you associate heavily with change or going outside your normative, going outside your script, or because you made up your mind it's now an inflexible concept. It's bullshit. This is like one of those one concepts that you were very tempted to get flexible about. We don't want to acknowledge the heart for this, but it is there. King of Cups, Seven of Swords, active avoidance, the Star. You can tell me that you're not emotionally involved in this and that you don't care about it emotionally, then why is it so important to you? Again, this is fragmentation. This is not meant to be an offense, so don't take it as one. If you don't identify with any of this at all, that's cool. Cancer I'm looking at wouldn't know the difference anyway, because they're like this. It's all on the inside. You've yet to show me practical 3D energy. Again, that would require you knowing what to do. Or allowing something to happen. The inclination's there, honey. It's there. Let's see that tower. Let's see that tower. Let's see that tower, please. Your strength is that you actually have a lot of energy for this, but you act like you don't. You do. I can't say, I'm too old for this shit, or I don't have time for it. Oh, trust me. You're a couple of threads away from making time for this. You are. Couple of shades, couple of walls away from making time for this, because it's growing. You'll see that tower. Jeez Louise. Let's see that tower. Let's see that tower. I gotta see this thing. You better show me something good. The Magician, the Six of Cups, the... I found you. I found you. Don't tell me this ain't shit. It's something. It's a powerful something. You've been playing dodge the bullet here. It's not the 90% of the time, guys. This is that 10%. This is that exceptional thing. That exceptional situation, circumstance, or person. That's why you keep coming back to it and you keep picking at that scab. It's because the way it was exited or dealt with from your point of view doesn't fit it. It doesn't fit it. It's not in the box. It's out. It's way outside the fucker. It has no box. It has no container. Okay. With an airtight lid. It's not like wrapped up, tidied. Yeah. Buried. It's done. Huh. No fuss, no muss, Christina. No. It would require... honey, this is... I told you. What did I say? Rewind it. I said it's almost like you're daring yourself. You are. That's essentially what this is. I'm seeing in a very elaborate dare. You are showing me in a very, very elaborate dare. You want to do something. And it scares the shit out of you. And what that something is actually isn't that big of a deal. So I can't tell if it's your pride getting in the way or because you quote-unquote made up your mind and that's how it has to be, which is a form of pride. There's mental resilience here. As soon as I saw your strength, I don't have the energy for this anyway. Bullshit. Yes, you do. It's just you won't acknowledge your heart for it. You got a big heart for this. And it means a great deal to you. And this is why you're daring yourself right here. The Magician, the Six of Cups, and the Hierophant. This is highly connected. At a spiritual level, it's complicated. Lessons, all that jazz. You've heard me say all this shit 1,000 times. The thing is, when I said you're borderline daring yourself to do something, that's no joke. You want to. And you are manifesting it from the universe. Warming up to it, the strength of will to commit to it, to make that change no matter how small. And what that is, I don't even know. Let's start with a fucking page. This is something you feel you need to do, but you have it so wrapped up in fear and consequences, you've actually convinced yourself it's best to just leave it alone. I know you think that usually works, it's not the situation, it's not the same thing. Otherwise you wouldn't have to tell yourself anything at all, and you most certainly wouldn't have to convince yourself. You would just walk away from it. Like I said, no fuss, no muss. There's nothing attached to that situation. There's a lot of attachment here, and it's all upper level shit. Of course it is. On the Tower, you want this situation back in your environment. This is your environment category. This is where you associate it the most with change. Everything else I saw at this point was spiritual and emotional dilly-dallying in your head about what if, what if, what if. Every day you're doing a little bit more daring yourself. And in your environment, this is where you associate it the most with change. Pulling it forward back to you. So you can interact with it again. And for what? Oh, and all I saw was maybe balance. But there's something else in there too that says you have a truth. It kind of makes you angry. It's almost like you're saying, I won't dignify that with a response. Or dignify that with an answer. And yet that's exactly what you want to do. What that answer is to you, I don't know. But the devil tells you, no, you don't. You don't have a truth. You don't need to express shit to that person. You don't have to express shit to that situation and keep believing that Cancer. It's fear. It's fear. If this really meant nothing to you, you wouldn't be showing me any of this. So you are pulling this in, so do be careful. The more we deny this, yet openly manifesting it at the same time, your two souls, let's make this clear, trying to find each other again. So I'm not really looking at them or they, but I am seeing high levels of spiritual connectivity that would require two people to operate under some guise of change in order to cooperate. Both of your two souls, I don't know if you're doing this consciously, in terms of manifestation, of course not. You're busy rejecting that you want to connect with this again. I got it. But your two souls are trying to find a way to compromise and connect. I don't know if you believe in that. I do. I'm not really a twin flames person. I'm not a fan of that. But soulmates, 100%. 100%. And I do believe your souls are trying to find each other. Again. There you go, fighting again. 5 of Wands. Should I fight for this or be afraid of it? Well, yeah, I got I'm so engaged. I don't know if you can tell. You might be new. You're not used to me. Hi, my name's Christina. When I'm engaged, I'm engaged. You got me so knee-deep in this. I thought Pisces had my full attention, and they did. Yours is like, fuck. But it's a really high level. Yeah, I know. And the Cancer I'm looking at, this is how long this has been with you. You're listening to this, and that's if you resonate. The Cancer who resonates this with, you're like, fuck. It's kind of like that aggravated acceptance. Yeah. You know. It's not full denial. But you just don't want this to be your truth either. Am I right? It's not full denial. There's parts of it you would love to deny, particularly the heart space. Like, I don't love this at all. Fuck this. Or F them, or whatever. I know, right? Oh, you know, if we could say that and really mean it. Yeah, no. So I don't know who that is, but your souls are both trying to connect in the environment, the real world environment. And if we're not cautious with that, you're definitely not showing caution. Your manifest, I told you, you're daring yourself every damn day. And I don't know how that's going to come crashing back in. But at that rate, if you don't do this consciously, it will come crashing back in, and I don't know under what form. There's time, place, and circumstance have no guarantee. So you can either try to shape this and be an active participant and balance it with it in a way that actually makes sense, or you could just be like, universe is like, here's a mess. I don't know. Okay. Let's do it. 9 of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the High Priestess. Man, look at that. There's fear, again, and frustration. I shouldn't have to express myself. I am seeing someone else in here. They're a little bit more 3D now. Nine of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the High Priestess. Intuitively, we feel we'll have to express feelings towards this, and this is where our sense of frustration gets pissed off. They're going to expect feelings. Somebody here is expecting the feelings, and somebody intuitively knows this. Intuitively, I know feelings and expressing them to the Knight of Cups is going to be expected. I feel this. And it pisses you off. But that's also what you hope for. This is how you've been daring yourself. I'd like to say something about my feelings. That's why you told me the feelings aren't important. That's why you're imagining worst case scenarios, so on and so forth. Intuitively, you know, and you're feeling that somebody here with that Nine of Pentacles is going to expect you to open up. And this is the one piece, the piece de la resistance, yeah? It aggravates you, but it also seems to be, as you best understand it, your opportunity. The opportunity that has kicked off 1,000 different scenarios in your mind about what could happen. No wonder you're stressed out. And also, you're afraid to be vulnerable in case they block you. That's hard. I know. If I open up about this, what's the response going to be? If I say this, what's the response going to be? We have no guarantee of that. Until you know what it's like to be that vulnerable and then have that fear of someone doesn't get it, they're not on the same page, or they flat out reject you. It's one of the shittiest feelings, but it's also real. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I kept saying for you, you have a truth in you, but you haven't come to terms with it. You want to say something, but you feel you shouldn't have to. Feelings aren't important. It's just the star, but whatever. Two souls are trying to find each other. So they're... And honey, what those feelings are, I don't know. It's not always romantic, guys. It's the suggestion of vulnerability. I wish people would get out of their heads about the Knight of Cups. It ultimately, it takes as much vulnerability to say I love you as much as it does to say I hate you. It works both ways. Vulnerability is vulnerability. The idea of it, there's something in you that you wish to express, and perhaps it does run a little bit of both ways. You ever had that conversation? You know what that conflicting feeling is like? You know what? I love you, but sometimes you really piss me off. And it's still, and guess what? It's still the Knight of Cups. And that's what this situation is. It's like, it's hard for you to separate your heart and your frustration from it. But it comes down to a very strong exercise in vulnerability, and that's where you keep showing me explosions. So I know you, bless you, you tried. I won't get involved in this. I won't. I have nothing to respond to. I've made up my mind. Okay. That situation's not shaking out here. Because it's not that situation. It's something else altogether. I just know that when that tower comes through in your environment, I'd rather it be under some form of your design as opposed to, say, something chaotic and completely unexpected. But to each his own. Hopes and fears. If I express myself, if I'm vulnerable, will they just block me? That's a deterrent. I'm frustrated and pissed off that I have to do this at all, or that I feel that I should. Okay, let's see that Nine of Swords in the outcome. You try to leave it behind. You trying to exit this and the terms and conditions for which you're used to. Wow. Nine of Swords, some of that Nine of Swords, please. Wow. Wow. The Moon, the Five of Swords, the Devil. I'm sorry, honey. I'm rooting for you, and I'm still rooting for you. Let's make that clear. I am still rooting for you. This isn't forever. It's what I'm seeing in terms of immediate results. I see you succumbing to the fear, and it stays under your moon for the time being. In other words, nothing is shared. So while I insist that the energy is getting higher for you, and you are daring yourself a little bit more every day, to turn around and, like I said, do an about-face and confront this. For now, you have seemed to defaulted to, I'd rather stress myself out and keep it to myself. So right now, as far as I can see, the devil is still very much attached to your truth. Ace of Swords. And it is a form of self-sabotage, yes. And the more we keep this to ourselves, the more it stresses ourselves out, which is, of course, the form of self-sabotage. Because this isn't your truth. You want it to be your truth, that you could give or take this, so that it means nothing to you. That's not true. You've done a hell of a job convincing yourself of that. I don't believe you, neither do you. What keeps you at bay is fear. And it's self-inflicted. It's under your moon, honey. I don't know how you can possibly hear yourself over that much racket. Between the fear and the stress, the moon energies, I'm not self-sabotaging myself. I'm not talking myself out of anything. There's nothing to talk myself. I already made up my mind. That's more that self-sabotage. And I would agree with you having made up your mind had it not been for this pile of conflict around it. Other than that, yeah, I would have believed you. Because I can tell that that's your methodology for the Cancer I'm looking at. That's your particular methodology for shit that don't work out. It's not emotionally harmonized. I don't want to deal with it. It's not for me. Thank you very much. You know? I would have believed it. But there's so much conflict of unresolved issues surrounding this. Unresolved thoughts, feelings. All of it doesn't... That is what we call tarot hell right there. The devil, the moon, the Five of Swords. And I don't want that for you. And I hope it's not always the case. Because your two souls trying to connect to each other is so much more. And what that connection looks like, guys, I don't know. But mostly to stop with the fragmentation. Clear the air, if nothing else. Unresolved feelings. Unspoken. You're showing me a phenomenal amount of unspoken thoughts and feelings. And that's the devil's work, man. And I hate to see that asshole is winning, because he is winning. He's winning. That dick is winning. That's the kind of dick we don't want to win, but he's winning this. They're saying, don't worry about it. Just put that shit in the moon. Keep not thinking about it, Cancer, because that's going to work out really well if you keep not addressing this. You have nothing to say. Remember, even if you did, and I'm not saying that you do, you probably don't have anything to say about this. But even if you did, it'll just blow up in your face. It's not even about them or they at this point, honey. It's about you. That devil obscures your truth so many points of... And this upsets me. I don't like this because that's very contrary to the Cancerian energy. I deny that love is there. It's not true. It's almost like you admitting that you love this in some way makes you love yourself, and it's like... Or it's an admission of how you love yourself or how you don't love yourself, and there's a truth in there too. That's just for you, not even about them. And that devil doesn't let you get anywhere near it. Well, that's a loudmouth one. I typically don't see him that prominent. I'm going to do something I haven't done with the other folks. Oh my. Okay, I didn't even have a chance. You know what your truth is. I'm looking at it. So are you. You already know. There they are again. I didn't even have a chance to ask. That same heart space we say we do not have feelings for. That's your truth. That's the one the devil says you do not have. That's why I see you denying the feelings. It is with them. Your two souls, I have to insist on this point, are trying to find each other. And I have to tell you, that devil, you're going to stop being interested in investing in that devil at some point. And that's when I see you daring yourself more and more to open up, to defy your own normatives and the laws that you have in place for you that aren't working, that seem to be hurting you. Destroying you. I see you taking action in time. Just not today. Not tomorrow. Probably not this season. But that is the truth. This is the one we tried to reject, but it's actually with us the most that we have no feelings for this. That's just not true. I don't know who that is to you. I just know a strong internal conflict surrounding it, unaddressed thoughts and unaddressed feelings, to the point that it has become a devil situation. Yes, parts of you, if you're being honest with yourself, would love to open up towards this, but you're also terrified of being rejected. And 4 Swords. Did you reject this person's heart space and then act like you didn't have feelings? You're afraid they'll do to you what you kind of maybe did to them? Not really reject them, but sidestep it. Like that's not there. Is that what that is? That it will come back to you? That will explain a lot of what I'm saying today. It would explain the double tower and the double devil. Try saying that 3 times fast. I don't know, Cancer. I'm sorry, honey. Again, not a judgment. Ace of Wands, there it is again. We got to rest on this and understand that this is what we want to do because we feel good about it, not bad. Okay? I have to agree. Again, this is not a judgment on anybody. Wheel of Fortune, time, Page of Pentacles. I can't see it further. In reflection, though, I was trying to figure out what their response might be, and that's where I was low-key reflecting on. And I see them resting on the subject, but willing to make a small investment in the interest of healing. Okay, so if it came down to it in terms of the actual delivery, I see that a reaction as being small, but welcome. Okay? In other words, not obligatory, not huge, not overwhelming, not a blow-up in your face. A very manageable. Okay. Let's talk about it. That's it. Again, I'm not picking on anybody. When we have hard reads like this, they're inevitable in tarot, and if you can't handle the real stuff, you shouldn't be watching it. But my Cancer collective who knows me, they're used to me, you know nothing but love comes from me, or you ought to. And if you don't, if you didn't pick up on my empathy or my sympathy, that kind of tells me where you are, but it's most certainly not where I am. I want the best for folks, not the worst. I want you to get the hell out of this fragmentation and the splintering. Okay, and that's going to take time, and it's going to take real work. And if this was a bad situation, honey, if it was a bad job, if it was abusive, I wouldn't be encouraging you to confront it. This is something a Cancer's already feel driven to do, but then they deny it at every possible intersect. I don't know what the bad mojo was, man, except that I am seeing the rejection of feelings as not being important, and it turns out they were. Not for them, but for you. And that could be anything, guys. This could be a family dynamic. This could be a friend I'm describing. And this could also be, of course, something of romantic interest. I do know that you two are uniquely soul bonded. I just don't want the rejection of this to get so out of hand that it becomes a tower outside of anybody's say. In other words, you have no say in its shape or its execution. Because that's where this is headed. You didn't take that to the bank. Last March might have been very significant, or this upcoming March. And then March within 2 years. That's very specific. At the rate this is going, I can see that. Two years from last March, when it happened. That afternoon. I don't want that devil twin. The Cancer I'm looking at, neither do you. But you don't know that yet. You will. The devil should have absolutely no say about how you express yourself, your feelings, or your thoughts. You're giving that fear way too much credit. You're in there, dying to come out. I hope this helped you. I really do. Shed more light on the subject than not. That's the idea. I don't know who I tuned in today, but it was different. And intense different. I have to say, there's parts of you that get so aggravated about this that in the weirdest way, it's kind of... It kind of shows me that when it comes to this, it's your soft spot. It's a big fucking soft spot. A place of, I know you think it's frustration in your heart, but it's actually the representation of the tenderness in your heart, and that's what you keep trying to reject. This situation is your tender spot, and you keep thinking that it's not supposed to be, but it is. I know you probably think this is a right pain in my ass. It makes me angry. Yeah, like I said, those two. He's responsible for delivering both of them, but from a sense of this is my real emotional self. So in a way, the more you try to resist this, it kind of tells me how much of a tender spot this is for you, and therefore it's a much bigger feeling than you're prepared to ever really give it room to breathe or acknowledge or recognize it anyway. It's that tender spot that kind of makes it's that same tender spot that when I see like a wounded animal. I just can't. I have to do something. And it's that same, I'm seeing the wounded animal in you, and I really just want to pick you up and just take you like this and tell you it's going to be okay, because I see it in you. I do. And you're telling me you're a very vulnerable, wounded animal, and you're afraid that something will come along and finish you off. And if you open up towards this and ask for help, or, oh my God, it will really be the end of you. Okay, plot twist. Perhaps it could be the beginning of you. Okay, that's enough for reals. Put it in the comments. I hope this helped. Take care. Be well.